United States has invested in economic opportunity, black men have been left out. Today, black men earn $6 an hour less than white men, are 3 times more likely to live in poverty, and are 10 times as likely to go to jail as white men. These stats are the result of policy choices we've made for over 100 years. Here are some key turning points. At the height of the Great Depression, when nearly 1 out of 4 Americans were out of work, President Franklin Roosevelt implemented the New Deal to end mass joblessness. Yet the government economic programs to do so targeted white men. Social Security, which started during this time, is arguably the most important anti-poverty program in the nation's history. But it excluded occupations which employed 9 out of 10 black men, specifically sharecroppers and tenant farmers. Just 10 years later, the United States decided to provide economic opportunity for the 15 million men who had fought in World War II through the GI Bill. But the GI Bill shut out 2 million black men who had done the same. Black men were far more likely to be denied the program's educational benefit, and its home buying help was essentially walled off from black veterans. For white families, the GI Bill transformed home ownership into the single most important driver of wealth in modern America. But black families were left on the sidelines, and the wealth gap today between whites and blacks is the highest on record.
And this administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America.
But the missed opportunities didn't end there. In the 1960s, President Johnson launched the War on Poverty, which he declared to be a, quote, down payment on economic justice. At that time, half of African Americans lived in poverty. Black men were unable to access many of the elements of the War on Poverty, however. Take Medicaid, for example. Declaring access to health care as an essential part of economic development, Johnson created the health insurance program. But Medicaid's eligibility rules essentially limited the program to mothers and their children, an inequity which continues to this day in many states. In 2014, black men have among the lowest life expectancy of any group in the country. Currently, our anti-poverty efforts center on income support for the working poor in order to make low-wage jobs pay. The centerpiece of this approach is the Earned Income Tax Credit, which keeps nearly 7 million people a year out of poverty. But like Medicaid, the rules for the EITC preclude black men from using it. Due to its emphasis on those with children, the benefit for women is 100 times greater than for men. $25 a year for men versus $2,500 for women. Though understandable, this tilt towards mothers inadvertently leaves out black men, who are also in dire economic straits. The bottom line is that the way economic opportunity programs operate goes a long way to explain why black men continue to lag. Overall, the government's anti-poverty efforts are effective and keep more than 41 million people each year from being poor. The point here is that they could help many millions more if the rules were changed to include black men.
Where there will be 3 black kids in the class, and after the first little quarter, you'll get your work done, you'll have pretty good grades, but the teacher will be like, she'll pull those 3 black kids aside, be like, you guys need to separate from each other, you're distracting the class. There might be 3 white girls in the back laughing the entire class, and the only thing she'll say is be quiet. Being black comes with the stereotypes of being loud, disruptive, and always angry when you don't get your way. I just think I just wanted to be heard, I should say. Especially being one of the few black kids in your class, just being heard is one of the big things for me. So I don't think teachers try to do it, but they do.
I'm the one that gets sent out the classroom. All the kids look at me like, oh, he got issues, he got to leave the class every 3 periods because, but that's just, it's also my fault because, that's who I choose to sit next to,
I remember back in first grade, this situation really got on my nerves. So I forgot why, but for some reason, a girl was crying, a white girl, she was crying, and the teacher called me over. And the girl told her that I made her cry, I pushed her down. I was like, I didn't, because I actually hadn't. And I kept on saying I hadn't, it wasn't me. And I guess the girl didn't know exactly who it was, or she thought it was me. But then the teacher took her word for it. And I got sent to the office. And that was one of the things at such a young age where I was just like, wow, why exactly?
So like if I tell my parents like there's something going on at school between the teacher and like my mom, she was like, you want me to go over there? I'm like, no, I don't. Because like it's gonna have a bad effect on the looks of me and her. Because like she's gonna go over there like the angry, mad black woman, and then the teacher is gonna get a stereotype of her, and then she'll be like, oh, that's why he's doing bad at school, or that's why that. And so I try to like fix it on my own to like get back at the teacher and to let them know like I'm not what they think I am.
One of the things that bothered me was my teachers would grade me differently based on this is at first, they would maybe grade me a little bit easier based on the color of my skin than they did my white counterparts. Yeah. And I felt like as teachers, they had internalized the belief that because I'm black, my expectations of the type of work that I could do was less than maybe some other students. So when I walked in the room, they automatically thought that the work that I was going to do maybe wouldn't have been as articulate or as progressed as some of the other kids, just based off of the way I look. And that's how are black kids coming in after me supposed to feel if their history, English, math, science teachers, when they first walk in, believe that they're not as smart as other kids.
I know I'm smarter than what the teacher thinks, so I'm going to take, what they give me, and I'm going to take advantage of it and turn it around into that A or that B plus that the teacher didn't think I could get. Or if they give me this extra help that I know I don't need, you say, okay, thank you, but you finish it before everybody else does, and it just slaps the teacher in the face.
No matter how many Louis Armstrongs there are, no matter how many James Baldwins there are, we're always going to be looked at different, always, just because of our skin color. We are in shackles, but they're just gold plated, so it looks like we are okay. But at the end of the day, like we're always going to be shackled up into that category. That's just how it is.
I feel like they take black people and then they're like, here you go, put you in this box. This is how you're supposed to act. You can't come outside of this because you can't act this way. This area right here, this is white, so you have to stay inside the black box. Like I hear a lot, like if there's like a black person being really articulate, knowing what they're talking about. Oh, why are you talking white? Like what exactly is talking to white? Like so being articulate and intelligent. That's talking white, that's acting white.
Yeah, you hear the term, oh, why are you trying to act so black?
Right.
Yeah. Like that's less than.
Right.
Yeah. Just call them straight up weak. You can't play this sport. They can be the best person on the team, but they're weak because they don't look like everybody else.
Well, when I'm with black people, I'm acting white. And when I'm with white people, I'm acting black. And I feel like I don't really have a place. Like, where do I fit in? Where am I just myself? Where am I just me?
And some black people say, you don't act your color. Like, I need you to act so-called white right now. It makes me feel like, for some reason, among the whole world, my color is put down to just put down another level. It doesn't make me feel good inside. It makes me feel a little angry with myself. Because I feel like I'm supposed to do something to try to change it, but I don't know where to start.
it's a lot of division in between the black races, man.
Yeah.
Why can't we just embrace our own culture? Why can't we be united? But no, I'm light skin, I'm dark skin, light skins act like that, dark skins act like that. But it's not just, we're black, we're brothers.
Yeah.
I wish we could do things like paint, do swimming, do golf, do filmmaking, do acting, do all these things and not be looked at as being more white. Like, I don't think football, basketball should be they shouldn't be the limits of self-expression for us as a whole. We should be able to feel like we can do more without being judged and being put in boxes because we only do these certain things. I feel like there's a lot of problems such as lack of resources and support, like more institutional problems that persist that might not go deeper, that might not allow black men to get to the same point as white males. But, and I think this applies for a lot of black males, if your only form of self-expression at the end of the day is like to go on a basketball court or to go on a football field, that affects your ability to do homework after school. So if that's the only other thing you can do to express yourself besides just going to classes, then like how is that helping you? Like,
I feel like there's a lot of stuff, not exactly like this, but like a lot of black people, like we can go to our friends and we talk about stuff like this, but then again, like what do we do about it? Right. Are we like, and where do we start to do something about it? Mm-hmm. Like we can talk about, it's this and this is how it is and it's because of this and that, but then again, what are we doing? What steps are we taking to make that progress to, like, as we, whole purpose, how are we gonna close that achievement gap?
Maybe the hardest part is if you teach, you have to live your teaching. You can't say, you do not as I do, but do as I say. No. You have to say, I'm doing my best to live what I teach. I have a painting by Phoebe of a group that she calls Sister Suki's Funeral. And all the women, there are about 9 women, and they all look like women in my grandmother's prayer meeting group. So whenever I'm obliged to do something, I take that painting and I look at that painting. There's an empty chair. And I think, now what would Grandma do? What would she say? I can almost hear her voice say, now, sister, you know what's right. Just do right. You don't really have to ask anybody. The truth is, right may not be expedient. It may not be profitable, but it will satisfy your soul. It brings you the kind of protection that bodyguards can't give you. Try to be all you can be, to be the best human being you can be. Try to be that in your church, in your temple. Try to be that in your classroom. Do it because it is right to do. You see, people will know you, and they will add their prayers to your life. They'll wish you well. I think if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, hell, oh, damn, I think you're doing something wrong. But if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, she's so sweet, he's so nice, oh, I love, oh, God bless her. There you are. So try to live your life in a way that you will not regret years of useless virtue and inertia and timidity. Take up the battle. Take it up. It's yours. This is your life. This is your world. I'll be leaving it long before you under the ordinary set of circumstances. You make your own choices. You can decide life isn't worth living. And that would be the worst thing you can do. How do you know? So far. Try it. See. So pick it up. Pick up the battle and make it a better world. Just where you are. Yes. And it can be better, and it must be better. But it is up to us.